In the shadowed alleys of Eldridge Heights, where the city's gleam faded into forgotten corners, Amelia Hawthorne pedaled her ancient bicycle through the rain-slicked streets. The bike was her lifeline, a rusted relic from her youth, its frame etched with the ghosts of happier days. At 62, with silver threads weaving through her chestnut hair and eyes like faded sapphires, Amelia was a woman who had outlived her dreams but clung fiercely to her dignity. Her husband had been taken by the sea 20 years ago, leaving her to raise their only son, Alexander, on the wages of a seamstress and the unyielding grip of hope. Now, widowed and weary, she hawked wildflowers from a wicker basket strapped to the handlebars, her voice a gentle melody against the urban roar. Fresh blooms for your heart's quiet corners, she'd call, her smile a fragile bridge over the chasm of poverty. But the winters bit deeper each year, and the rent gnawed at her savings like a relentless shadow. Tonight, as thunder grumbled overhead, Amelia wheeled her bicycle to the corner market, a handwritten sign dangling from the seat. For sale, beloved bike. $150. Mom needs groceries. Inquiries within. Across the glittering skyline, in the glass fortress of Hawthorne Enterprises, Alexander Hawthorne reigned supreme. At 38, he was the epitome of ruthless ambition, tall, with chiseled features and eyes of stormy gray that mirrored his unyielding drive. His name evoked power. His suits were tailored from Italian silk, his office a panoramic throne overlooking the city he had conquered. From a boy scraping by in cramped apartments to the CEO who turned a failing tech startup into a billion-dollar empire, Alexander had clawed his way up on sheer will. But success had exacted a toll. The warmth of his youth had hardened into frost, family ties severed like obsolete code. He hadn't spoken to Amelia in 5 years, not since their last explosive argument when he offered her a generous check she refused, calling it pity. I raised you to stand tall, not to buy my silence, she'd said, her voice cracking like old porcelain. Alexander saw it as prideful folly. She saw it as the last thread of her independence. He buried the hurt beneath boardroom battles, convincing himself that distance was mercy. Little did he know, Amelia had taken a job at Hawthorne Enterprises 6 months prior, not out of desperation, but quiet resolve. As a janitor in the sub-basement, she mopped floors under fluorescent hums, her hands raw from chemicals, her back aching from the weight of invisibility. The pay was meager, but it kept the lights on. She never told him. Pride forbade it. In the vast hive of his empire, she was a ghost, her presence erased by the machinery of progress. It was a Tuesday when fate's cruel wheel turned. Alexander, in a frenzy of cost-cutting, had summoned his executives for a purge. Efficiency demands sacrifice, he declared, his voice echoing like a verdict. Reports flooded his desk, redundancies, underperformers. One file caught his eye, a low-level custodian in facilities, flagged for persistent tardiness and subpar output. The name, A. Hawthorne. A coincidence, he thought, dismissing the flicker of unease. The performance review was damning. Missed shifts due to personal emergencies, output below quota. In his world of metrics and margins, mercy was a luxury he couldn't afford. Terminate immediately, he scrawled on the memo, his pen a guillotine. The order cascaded down. HR notified, security prepped. By noon, Amelia was called to the lobby. She stood there, her uniform starched but faded, clutching her employee badge like a talisman. The supervisor, a young man with a clipboard and averted eyes, delivered the news. Effective today. Your services are no longer required. Here's your final check. The words landed like blows. Amelia's world tilted. She had arrived late that morning, not from laziness, but because her bicycle's chain had snapped in the downpour, forcing a 2-mile walk through sheets of rain. Her subpar output, a slip mop from arthritic fingers, a quiet plea for understanding she never voiced. But in the ledger of corporate indifference, she was expendable, a line item erased. She nodded, her sapphire eyes dimming. I understand, she whispered, though her heart screamed betrayal. Tucking the check into her apron, she stepped into the elevator, the doors closing on the empire her son had built from the soil of the shared struggles. Outside, the rain wept with her as she trudged home, the weight of failure pressing like an unseen hand. That evening, Alexander worked late, the city lights blurring into a victorious haze. A ping on his phone, a news alert from the local feed. Heartbreaking sale. Eldress sells cherished bicycle for food. The photo froze him, a woman in a sodden shawl, beside a familiar rusted frame, her sign pleading in handwritten script. Amelia, his mother. The caption detailed her story. A devoted parent, now jobless, hawking her last possession to stave off hunger. The room spun. Alexander's empire crumbled in that instant, walls of glass revealing the hollow core beneath. Memories flooded. Amelia's hands, calloused from endless shifts, braiding his hair as a boy, her lullabies chasing nightmares, the bicycle she taught him to ride, its bell tinkling like laughter on summer winds. He had fired her, his own blood, blind to her face in the files, deaf to the echoes of her sacrifice. He bolted from the tower, hailing a cab through the storm. The streets blurred, guilt a torrent matching the skies. At the market corner, she was gone, but a vendor pointed him homeward, a narrow tenement, 3rd floor. He climbed the stairs 2 at a time, breath ragged, knuckles white on the railing. The door creaked open to Amelia's gasp. There she stood, drenched and disheveled, a half-eaten apple her supper, the bicycle's chain coiled like a serpent on the table. Alex. Her voice was a fragile bridge, trembling. He fell to his knees, the CEO unmasked, tears carving rivers down his face. Mama, I didn't know. God, what have I done? The words poured, a dam broken, apologies for the years of silence, the check refused, the empire built on her unseen foundations. He confessed the firing, the file, the blindness of his ascent. I thought success meant letting go. But I let go of you. Amelia's hand trembled as she cupped his cheek, her touch a balm of forgiveness he didn't deserve. Oh, my boy, she murmured, pulling him into an embrace that smelled of rain and wildflowers. Success isn't in towers of glass. It's in the wheel that carries you home. She spoke of her pride in his rise, her quiet joy in sweeping his halls, unseen but near. I sold the bike because pride is a heavy load, but love lightens it all. In the hush that followed, Alexander vowed change, not grand gestures, but roots. He dismantled the purge, reinstated her with dignity, not as a janitor, but advisor, her wisdom the true engine of his boardroom. The bicycle, he bought it back at dawn, not with a check, but coins from his pocket, wheeling it home as they rode together, mother and son, the city awakening to their mended rhythm. Word spread through Hawthorne Enterprises, the CEO who knelt. Stocks dipped, then soared on whispers of humanity reborn. But for Alexander, the true fortune was the sapphire spark reignited in Amelia's eyes, the bells tinkle a symphony of redemption. In the end, empires rise on ledges, but hearts endure on the turn of a wheel, fragile, faithful, forever turning home. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles, if it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us. Heart.